guys, Archie Luxury on the Paul Pluta channel doing paid review 21QA90. This is for Alex. Before we start this review, quick wristwatch check. What am I wearing? I'm wearing a Milgauss, Rolex Z Blue Milgauss. Absolutely love this watch. I adore it. Absolutely the best blue dial in the industry. Okay, let's jump straight in here. Hi Arch, love your channel. Could you please do a review of the Vacheron Constantin Overseas version 3 and your take on whether to get the blue or silver dial. The blue is kind of flashy and a clear eye catcher. The silver is elegant and understated. I'm very torn which to get. The silver I could get at retail right away, while there is a waiting list for the blue. I also wonder whether you think these watches will hold their value in the future. I've sent you $50 via PayPal. Thanks a lot, Arch, and hope and keep up the great work and hilarious show. All the best, Alex. So, what do I think of this watch? Absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. The Overseas, the Vacheron Constantin Overseas. It's Vacheron's answer to the Nautilus, to the AP Royal Oak. This is a top, heavy-hitting steel sports watch. Now, with that said, there, let's have a talk about this, because I've got to be totally honest with you. The big problem I have with this watch here is the fact that what happened to models in the past, and I got to explain this. This is the biggest problem. Is Vacheron is owned by Richemont Group. Okay, and guess what? The big problem is that being part of Richemont, they have decided to throw their advertising dollars into the Chinese market. So you've got a very nouveau riche market. The oldest luxury goods market in the world is the Japanese. And the Chinese now, their market, very, very new. So in typical Chinese kind of logic, the latest is the greatest. Mercedes-Benz's the latest model is always better than the old model. And what the problem is with this logic is that you look back and you realize the current, the latest, wow, whiz bang. But you know what? The previous models really take a bath. And that's what worries me with Vacheron. A good friend of mine, he's actually got a generation 3 of the Overseas chronograph. And he also was this close to buying the 3rd generation Overseas 3-hander with date. And I got to tell you, they are amazing. They're beautiful. But you know what? He also owned the 2nd generation. Personally, I think there's so much kerfuffle. People say, oh, the 3rd generation's so much better. It's got a display back. It's got in-house movement. It's got da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, hang on a minute. The 2nd generation, it was pretty damn good as well. And I love the dial. They had a guilloche type pattern on it. I got to be totally honest with you. With Vacheron itself, I would have a big problem putting so much money into it. This is a very expensive piece. Without a doubt, if you're going to buy one, silver or blue, you want the blue. I love blue dials. You want the blue dial. You don't. The silver is. The blue is worth the premium, and for good reason. It's a good reason. The blue is really what, how do I say this, guys? You want the blue, okay? The blue is the one to get. That is what you want. You want the blue. Now, let me just say this to you. You buy the silver, you're going to really, it's thousands of dollars difference in resale value. The cool one is the blue. It's a very special blue. It's kind of like a, how do you describe it? It's got this iridescent blue. It's beautiful. So my advice to you, seriously, I would be getting a cheap Gen 2. That's right, I'd get the second gen because it's substantially cheaper. Okay, that's my honest opinion. I would go for the second gen. Hell of a lot cheaper. Hell of a lot cheaper. That's where I'd be going. You want bargain. Because I've got to be totally honest with you. I think the third generation. Hi guys, ArchieLuxury. And who do I recommend in America? In America, who do I recommend for quality pre-owned wristwatches? David SW, David SW, David SW. Go to davidsw.com. He is the best, the greatest pre-owned dealer in all of the United States of America. David SW, David SW, David SW. I gotta be totally honest with you, the Vacheron Constantin Overseas is a beautiful watch, but I don't know if I would be jumping into third gen. If it was me, I've always been a bit of a value shopper. I seriously think the bargain is the second gen. See, the Overseas itself, it started off as the Vacheron Constantin 222. Then it became the Phoebus. Now both the 222 and the Phoebus were really ugly. Then it became the Overseas. And I gotta be putting my 2 cents worth. I really think I wouldn't be buying third gen. Too expensive, big premium. You're paying such a big price from the second gen. Personally, my best advice to you, let me tell you what I would do is, I would buy Rolex, Steel Sports Rolex, Steel Sports Rolex. That is honestly what I would do. You gotta buy Steel Sports Rolex. There's no point buying this sort of stuff. You know, there's some real bargains out there. I had a JLC Polaris chronograph. That was a bargain. But, you know, that's another thing too. See that sort of watch there? Soft. Personally, Vacheron seems to be getting very popular in Singapore, especially. Vacheron seems to be doing a few nasty things. They're starting to the hotter dials. They're a boutique purchase only. What does this mean? Boutique purchase. Well, basically, Richemont. You know, they're a conglomerate, and they realize that these bunnies, they want the hot colored dials. They want the cool ones. So, you know what's going to happen, don't you? You know exactly what will happen is that you've got to buy the the blue one through the boutique. So they're going to full retail. It's just going to be nasty. You want my opinion? I'd get myself a Milgauss. I reckon that's a great three-hander. Get a Millie. That's what I would do with the blue dial. Vacheron makes some cool stuff, but it ain't that cool. So let's make sure we've answered your question. Blue or silver? Undoubtedly blue. The silver has always been the least popular. The most popular is blue, then black, then white, then silver. Okay. Now, as far as you could get it at, yeah, I know you can get it's retail, man. Retail's for suckers. I also wonder whether you think these watches will hold their value in the future. Well, I got to be honest with you. You look at the previous track history, and it ain't pretty. Because Vacheron has sold their soul to Chinese, nouveau riche buyers, and they basically want the latest and greatest, so they don't understand the product. See, the whole point in buying a Vacheron is to get the histories of it. So I get second gen every time. maybe he's sent me another email there a day later. He said maybe you could also throw in your opinion on the overseas chronograph just for good measure. My favorite overseas chronograph is the 2nd gen with the big date at 12. I think that is absolutely beautiful. They depreciate so badly. Would I buy the newer model Vacheron overseas chronograph? Not on your life. I think it's too risky. Too risky. Be honest with you, you want a steel sports watch, get Rolex. You want steel sports, get Rolex. That's where my money would be going. Rolex! Get a Rolex. I'm sorry to have to say this to you, but Vacheron, I don't think is, how do I put it? It is a great brand, but I want to buy it at the discount end. I don't want to pay full retail for it. That's suckers' money. It's a suckers game. Yeah, so I would definitely say to you, great watch. I want the second-hand bargain, 2nd gen. I don't think the 3rd gen is that superior to 2nd gen. And I want a bargain. I want discount. So personally, my advice to you would be stick with Rolex. You asked the question, I also wonder whether you think these watches will hold their value in the future. That's not the sort of question you should be asking. That worries me. The way you've asked that question there, look, Vacheron, I love Vacheron. It's a great brand, but they're owned by Richemont. They stuffed up many brands. Cartier, that's owned by Richemont. ArchieLuxury, that's a Richemont brand. You've got to be so damn careful with these sort of brands because they constantly fake things up. So I don't know if I wouldn't be paying full whack for a Vacheron. That's kind of silly. I don't know why you think that's acceptable. It's going to be, look, get Rolex. You're the sort of person, if I were you, go to David SW, go and buy Rolex. That's what I would do. Buy Rolex, your money's safe, you can easily get out of it. That's what I would do. Buying Vacheron, I don't think, I think that's a very risky move. Very risky move. So there you go. That's the Pontiff has spoken. I've given my advice. Guys, like, subscribe, and tell your friends. Remember, I can't survive on Google Ads alone. I really do need your help on YouTube to survive. Please get a paid review done. It helps me a lot. Also, sponsor me on Patreon. That helps me a lot. And please, guys, I can't survive on Google Ads. And look down below, $50 US paid review. I'd love to review your collection. Okay, guys, I will see you in the next one. Hey guys, ArchieLuxury. Who do I recommend for watches in Brisbane and Sydney? Vintage Watch Co. That's correct. Vintage Watch Co. in Brisbane Arcade in Brisbane and the Strand Arcade in Sydney. Vintage Watch Co. Brisbane and Sydney. Ronnie, I've known him since the late 90s. Ronnie is a top bloke. Luke is a great guy. Vintage Watch Co. That is who I recommend in Australia. Check out Vintage Watch Co. and the guys' amazing range of watches. They also do service and repairs. Vintage Watch Co. That is where the Pontiff goes. You know, some of my Pateks came from Vintage Watch Co. That's right, guys. Vintage Watch Co.